Hail, bird of prey. 5. Hail, Karuga.
Kapla!
Kapla.
I'm going to take this opportunity, however, to suggest that we all hail Kiroga. That's all I'm saying.
Forgive me, Doctor. I'm receiving a number of distress calls. I don't doubt it.
Y'all remember to tip your waitresses. Have a mighty fine night.
If you come in peace, surrender or be destroyed. If you're here to make war, we surrender.
Both good. The important thing is I'm meeting new people.
When the appointed hour arrives, the Marauders will deactivate their cloaking devices and begin transporting Klingon shock troops directly to the landing zone.
Landing zone? Where? Tell me.
Why not? Your feeble weapons will be useless against us. We will kill all your males and take your females to mate with.
All right. Now the Federation's taking over, whether you like it or not. You people, you've been running this planet like a piecework factory. From now on, it's going to be under one roof. You're going to run it like a business. And that means you're going to make a profit.
Look at these 3 words written larger than the rest, with a special pride never written before or since. Tall words, proudly saying, "We the people."
Hi, I'm Nicole DeBoer. I played Lieutenant Ezri Dax on DS9, and I welcome you to Bird o' Prey 5 channel. Hail Karoga.
Hello world, it's Bird o' Prey 5, Kapla, and welcome to Bed Life for Monday, September 25th, 2023. And Last Son of K was first in the chat. Says Kapla Bird, Mamo Prey, and family. Hail chat. 3 months till Christmas. Oi, where has the year gone? Oh man, 3 months till Christmas. Thank you for the unpleasant reminder, Last Son of K. Karoga Night says Viva Karoga, Kapla Karoga Night. We had some new Karoganite a couple days ago. Didn't even bother announcing it. There's so much Karoganite. Richie Poole says 3 Vicks for being the third person in the chat. Welcome, Richie, and he puts in 3 alpacas. Not Ryan Johnson says hello and Kapla. Hail Karoga, Kapla. Hail Karoga, not Ryan Johnson. Snorter Poopus Q. Burr says hello humans and other critters. Kapla Snorter Poopus. And he says hello Kapla, Kapla Snorter Poopus. Not Ryan Johnson says do something about this rain, God Emperor of Karoga. Check your weather control machine and make sure it's working properly, which is asking a lot of Karogan engineering. It's set to, the weather machine is set to Ryzian. It's the natural weather of Ryza. Plenty of rain. You can thank me later. John Araki says, Aloha world. And John Araki put in a 99-cent poopy super sticker. Thank you, not Ryan Johnson. Hashtag poop or die. Holy shit, John Araki got Kissing Dax. He got Kissing Dax on the poop sticker. Thank you, John Araki. We don't want to associate Kissing Dax with poop, but we do want to associate Kissing Dax with John Araki. Make of that what you may. Last Son of K says, Ophelia from the movie Renaissance Man, starring Danny DeVito and a very young Mark Wahlberg. I don't think I've seen it. Jedi Bill says, Kapla, Brother Warrior, Birdo Prey 5. All should hail Karoga. Absolutely. Kapla, Jedi Bill, I hope you're doing well. I hope your quest to get some for your GoFundMe goes well to get your computer fixed. Feel free to put the link in to your GoFundMe anytime. Snorted Poopus says hello to John Araki and Last Son of K and Jedi Bill. Last Son of K waves. Jedi Bill says hello. And Last Son of K also waves. Schwario says Birdo Prey 5. Kapla Bird, hope you and the family are doing well today. Thank you, Schwario. Well, I had a little bit of a nap. And Yvette with a £2 sterling super chat. And Yvette, unfortunately, correctly predicted she's betting it's a fake. And it's a fake. You know what? Let's try and play it one more time, Yvette. One more time. Oh, there it goes. There you go, Yvette. Kissing Dax. Not on the first, but you got it on the second try. Wonderful. Wonderful. And it's working. So there we go. Thank you, Yvette. She correctly predicted it the first time, but then the second time she got the kissing Dax. So it counts. Schwario says hello to you all. And Snorted Pooper says hello to Schwario. And John DeMarco, greetings, says greetings all. Greetings, John. Actually, John, I'm glad you're here because I probably should have told you this ahead of time, but I didn't. So I will tell you it now. I was still thinking about Jepnerdy the other night, and I was thinking, you know, I was thinking that wouldn't it be nice to get somebody, I don't know, well known in the community to play the game, because let's face it, Jepnerdy, you and Professor Brainy Specs have made that game a standout in the community. It should get more recognition than it gets, and if for those of you who watch the Shuttle Pod Show podcast, and let's for those of you who don't know the Shuttle Pod podcast, it's well, this is one of the episodes, and the producer of the show, Mark, I didn't know his last name till today, Cartier. He fancies himself a Star Trek trivia nerd. At the end of each one of their episodes, it's him versus all the other guests and hosts, and Mark usually wins in a multiple choice 5-question trivia test. Mark usually wins himself versus everyone else. And this last episode, that was actually earlier on Sunday, it was season 2, episode 32, called Eat, Drink, and Be Merry, with Mary D. Howard, who she was forget what her title was, but she was a kind of behind the scenes person on Star Trek. She was a producer, but she was something else. Associate producer. I don't know. She had been there since Next Generation. She was there through DS9, Voyager, Enterprise. She had been a long time person there. Anyway, This was towards the end. Let me put the audio on so you guys can hear it. Sorry if that was loud.
It might be Breen too.
Breen
Here-
doesn't sound familiar to me.
Doesn't?
Here,
Yeah.
the question was, what was Seska? What was Seska? What was Seska's real species? That what was she? Basically, what was Seska's real species? Now they didn't tell them what show Seska was from. So the actors were trying to figure out what show Seska was from. And the multiple choice options was Cardassian, Breen, human, or Klingon.
So not Breen. I don't think Cardassian.
Human?
Human.
No,
or
there wouldn't be.
Klingon.
Human doesn't feel right
No,
either.
I feel right. Should we go with
Klingon?
Klingon?
We're going Klingon.
Nuts.
Cardassian.
Yeah. Damn.
All right, 1-0.
Question number.
What was Seska?
She was a member of the Maquis. She was a spy, a Cardassian spy who got stuck in the Delta Quadrant with the Maquis ship that Janeway and the Voyager were chasing when they got.
So yeah, so you see, Mark knows his stuff, but to be honest, that was a pretty basic question. I mean, that would be $100. That would be $100 question on Jep Nerdy.
I got to look at more.
So
Voyager. I still.
Mark, listen, he gets some tougher questions, but that was the first one of this past Sunday. Anyway, I used to be a Patreon member of Shuttlepod Show, and I stopped recently because I wanted to reprioritize where my money went, and frankly, the show has got so many hundreds and hundreds, at least it appears to have hundreds and hundreds of Patreon members now. I thought they were doing just fine, and I'd rather put my limited funds to other places. Mamo Praise Lobster Fund or whatever. Yeah, so I had nothing against Mark, and I wanted to get a hold of him, and so I tweeted to the Shuttlepod Show Twitter account. I said, I hope it finds its way to producer Mark at Shuttlepod Show. You should really check out the most difficult regularly scheduled Star Trek trivia game out there, Sundays at 6 p.m. Pacific. Now, he's LA based, so I was catering to his time period. 9 p.m. Eastern. Can you keep up? And I put in a link to this most recent Saturday's game with a time period of us actually playing the game, so he didn't have to sit through, all the few minutes of introduction. Just let him look what the game is all about. And to my surprise, just a couple of hours later, he actually wrote back with his full Twitter account, which I am now following, and I have his full name. And he says, "Excellent, thank you, Joe." So that was nice of him to respond. And I don't know. I think there's a half a chance he might actually check it out. I don't know if it'll be next week or some other time. I don't know if he'll come under his own name or some fake name just to see how things go. But it'd be really cool to see Mark actually play a game. Now, I don't know if I would beat him, but I would suspect I'd suspect Omnicast would certainly trounce Mark. No offense, Mark, but Omnicast has been our champion for many weeks in a row, and I I would almost think he cheats, but it's impossible. There's no way he could cheat that fast. He just knows his stuff. He is very good. And Tokyo, he's very good too. I mean, compared to me, they're both particularly good. But Omnicast, I think would still win against Mark. I think me versus Mark, I think would be a close game. But we'll see. Maybe Mark will win. And if that happens, all the better. But so a heads up to John and to Professor Brainy Specs if you see a Mark Cartier or a Shuttlepod show trying to join the game next week or sometime after this, try and let them get in. Try and let them get in. That would be, you know, and don't skip them. Don't put them ahead of anybody. But if they need a little help or whatever, just be on the lookout. It'd be really, really cool to have them. So, yeah. Okay. Back to the chat. John DeMarco says greetings to all. Snorterpoopus says hello back. Substance D says Kapla. Kapla Substance D. Captain Fandom Nerd says hello. Hello, Captain. Yvette says good evening, Bird and everyone. Good evening to the lovely Yvette. 47 Yorktown says hello, young sir. Hello, 47. Last Son of K says hello to Captain Fandom Nerd and a cup of coffee for the captain. Gorilla's Random Thoughts says Kapla. Have to lurk. No problem, Gorilla. Thanks for coming. Last Son of K says good evening to Yvette. Captain Fandom Nerd says hello to Last Son of K. And John DeMarco says hello to Snorterpoopus. Keely Chow says, hey, everybody. Kapla, Keely. Yvette says hello to the Last Son of K. Miss Londell's Groovy Movies says Kapla. Batleth to the blank. Batleth to the face. Batleth to the face. Or the groin. Or wherever. You don't want a batleth coming at any part of you. Keely Chow says hello to Captain Fandom Nerd. Who says hello back. Schwario says we, the people. Birds and Pictures says Kapla Bird. Good to be here. Good to hear you. Good to have you here, Words and Pictures. Gorilla's Random Thoughts says, can you turn much up? If you meant, could I turn the volume up much? Not really. Not really. In fact, I'll turn off the desktop volume. Hopefully that helps. Keely Chow says hello to Snorterpoopus. So does, and Snorterpoopus says hello back. Jedi Bill says Kapla and hello to Words and Pictures. Words and Pictures says, hey, Bill. Keely Chow says, hello, Bill. Jedi Bill, Roll Tide. Brother Warrior, Roll Tide. Gorilla's Random Thoughts says, hey to Snorterpoopus. Keely Chow says, yes. John Araki says, booyah. Keely Chow says, HLA equal hot lesbian action. Jedi Bill says, hello to Keely Chow. Roll Tide, Brother Warrior. Roll Tide. Why isn't Roll Tide a University of Alabama thing? Why are so many Alabama fans outside Alabama? I don't know. John Araki says, I would take Whooping Dax over Ski Clops. Well, Ski Clops, I don't even know if I still kept Ski Clops. Gap After Dark says, hey, Bird, Jedi Bill, Cuber, Words and Pictures, Godzillionaire, Keely, Yvette, 47, York, and Motown. Kapla Gap. Dan Ben says, I didn't see a reminder for this video. Well, I only got it set up like just about 3:30, so like 3:25. Might not have had time. Gap After Dark says, hello all. Hello, Gap. Again. Keely says, hey to Gap. Snorter Poopa says hello to Yvette. Everybody saying hello back. And Yvette says, woohoo. Dan Ben says, my latest medical problem is having to use foot cream. Well, I'm sure that's annoying, Dan Ben. That's not all that bad as medical problems go. Count yourself lucky. Keely Chow says yes and puts in a bunch of ducks. Snorter Poopa says scissoring. Dax says antiderivative Jill Kapla says hi, listening and driving. I'll absolutely drive safe. Gap After Dark says hey to Jill, as does Snorter Poopas. And antiderivative Jill says hey to Gap and Snort. Cinnabon Bunny's in the house, says hello. Hello, Cinnabon Bunny. Your PS5, I need you to send me. No, don't send me anything. That's a joke. There's no PS5. John DeMarco says much appreciated. I hope it works out. And Cinnabon Bunny says it's rigged nerdy. It should be called rigged nerdy. Well, probably. I mean, they seem to rig it so I couldn't win last night. Or 2 nights ago. Dan Ben says one of the uses is to prevent red skin and itching. I am aware of what foot creams are used for, as are most people. Schwario says, Bird, I didn't mean to complain, but can you please turn your mic volume up a little? I got my volume up at a comfortable level, and you seem low on my end. Let me see. I have my mic gain at the absolute highest it can turn to. I can move it a little closer to my mouth. Hopefully other people who had it set were further away. It's not triggering them. But this is the best I can do, and it'll probably get a little lower as time goes on, as it adjusts to being so close to my mouth. I hope that works. I hope that works, Wario. Daniel's Hot Topics is today is Mark Hamill's birthday. Happy birthday, Mark Hamill. Well, happy birthday to him from you, Daniel. I have no love for Mark Hamill. I know. He's whatever the fuck, the last Skywalker or not so much anymore. He used to be Luke Skywalker. Now, not so much. Cinnabon Bunny says, those guys get easy softball questions and they still suck at Trek trivia. Definitely not champion material. Well, I'll tell you, the actors, they are not champion material. I will give you that. But Mark himself, he might be champion material. They'll have to prove it. But yeah, he might be. Last Son of K says everyone should send Mr. Hamill a case of blue milk or green milk, I mean. But yeah. Dan Mann says, I think your microphone is already loud. And I would like to take a Star Trek trivia quiz. Well, Dan Ben, on Sunday nights at 9 p.m. Eastern, you should head over to John DeMarco's channel and you can come up and play Jep Nerdy. And Keely Chow says happy birthday to Mark Hamill. Last son of K is saying Kardashian. Yes, well, Cardassian. Daniel's even Mamo probably knew Cardassian. Daniel's Hot Topics says, I know Seska. Seska is hot. Enough said. It takes a lot to play a hot Cardassian. Just to be clear. It's much easier to be a hot Bajoran. Jedi Bill says, hello all. If you could help with your extremely kind generosity, and there is his GoFundMe link. And this Friday is my 51st birthday. Okay. Bill, remind me, Friday the 29th, Bed Life for Friday the 29th, that it's your 51st birthday. I know you're the singer, Bill. I know you're the singer, but I have to sing happy birthday to you. Antidote Jill says, too easy. John DeMarco says, yeah, that's a 100-point question for sure. The Seska question is too easy. We could go to another question. They weren't all that easy. Dan Ben says, the way that microphone goes over the lady's picture in the back makes it look like she has a blacked out tooth. Well, actually, I mean, the way the microphone is at the moment, it kind of looks like it's picking Terry Metallis's nose. Yeah, that's Terry Metallis's picture. It's like it's up his nose.
I still have a resentment factor, I'm afraid. 7 years.
What's the next question?
Anyway.
Just put it behind you. Let it go.
That's right.
Let it go.
That's right. They made it home. They made it home.
Yeah.
Like
We'll last more than 4 seasons.
Come on, next question.
Question number 2 is another Voyager question. Here we go. Question number 2. In Star Trek Voyager, whose life did 7 of 9 save with Borg nanoprobes?
Okay, that's a $200 question.
A. Janeway, B. Chakotay, C. Torres, or D. Neelix?
Mark. Shit, I didn't press the button.
Oh, we got it again. Look at you. Save someone's life with nanoprobes.
Yeah.
I hope it was Janeway.
And we think it's either.
I'm gonna be honest. They get it wrong again. But Mark gets it right. So that's a $200 question, maybe. I would think. I don't think that's a $100 question. Dan Ben says, I read that. Cinnabon Bunny says, I would crush Mark in a trivia challenge. You might. John DeMarco says, thanks for the shout out, Bird. Even if the games are actually on Saturdays. Oh, shit. Did I say Sunday? Oh, no. I did, didn't I? I told him Sunday. Oh, and I closed the reopen last closed tab. No, that wasn't the last closed tab. God damn it. There we go. Did I say it? I did. I said Sunday. Oh, no. Oh. Oh my God. I mean, Saturday. 6 p.m. Pacific. And You know what I'll do is I will put the link. I will put the link to the latest, since you have the Jeopardy week 65 up already. Yeah. There we go. Okay. Week 65. Okay. Well, hopefully he gets the update. Ah, stupid me. Feel like an idiot. Well, whatever. It is what it is. Last Sonic A says actors typically aren't trivia nerds. They're usually more worried about their lines. Well, that's right. He's not an actor. He's the producer. Cinnabon says both days end in Y, and both days begin with S, so they're virtually the same day. Cinnabon Bunny says, we would humiliate Mark. I don't know. John DeMarco says, Cinnabon, I can't argue with your logic in this case. Cinnabon says, Omnicast is part of the Jeopardy cabal. Dan Ben says, Martha Hatchett plays Seska, was also in Deep Space Nine, The Search Part 1 and 2 as the Romulan female. Oh, is that her? I always thought we'd see more of her. I guess they didn't like her for some reason. Jedi Bill says, hello, Captain Fandom Nerd. Daniel's Hot Topic says, all hail the future ruler of Earth, Lord Doomcock. This is Karoga country. I mean, I like Doomcock too, but you better hail Karoga here first and foremost. Jedi Bill says hello, Yvette and Cinnabon. Dave G Sound says Karoga, Kapla Karoga. Hello all. Cinnabon says hey to Bill. And then it all jumped. Gorilla says a bat left to the groin is not honorable combat. No, but it's effective. Dave G says hello to Captain Fandom Nerd and Jedi Bill. Dan Ben says hello to Jedi Bill. Captain Phantom Nerd says hello to Dave G. Hakeem says hello, Bird and all. Kapla, Hakeem. Dave G says what? It's what the laundry does in the machine. Roll Tide. To Keely Chow. Daniel's Hot Topic says 2023 had two awesome movies, The Flash and Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. Guardians of the Galaxy was okay, just okay, and Spider-Verse was so meh, it grinds metal. Jedi Bill says hello to Hakeem, so good to see you. And hello to Daniel. And more hello back and forth. Schwario says the mic volume is fine now. Last Son of Case is awesome. Isn't necessarily a word I would associate with The Flash and Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. But you do you, Daniel. Yeah, Daniel goes to the beat of a different drum. Daniel says Bird of Prey 5. Speaking of PS5s, new gaming systems today are awful. Nothing beats Nintendo GameCube and PS2. those were the days. Well, Daniel, I think those were your days. For me, I would put my all-time best gaming system was probably Sega Genesis. Although I did have a lot of fun with my 3DO. My original PlayStation, that was also a goodie. Cinnabon Bunny says, I sent 200 more Walmart gift cards to cover shipping. I hope that's enough. Can't wait. Son of a bitch. Hakeem says, Jedi Bill, thanks a lot. Last on the case says, happy birthday, Mark Hamill. Thank you for letting us use Jake Skywalker on screen. Letting us see Jake Skywalker on screen. Daniel says, hey, he's Luke Skywalker, the man, the myth, the legend, the god, the galaxy far, far away. I hope he comes back in some capacity in the future of Star Wars. He's done, Daniel. He's done. He's out. He's gone. The only way he's coming back is animated. Gorilla says, hey to Bill. Captain Finity puts up 3 shots. Kapla, Captain Finity. Dan Ben says, yeah, even Mom knows who Seska is. Last on the case says, okay, Dan Ben, now you're just rubbing it in. Captain Finity says, all too easy. Tis. Jedi Bill says, Luke Skywalker, Birdo Prey 5. Not even Mark Hamill likes Luke Skywalker and is done with the Roll Tide forever now. You don't have to be done with Roll Tide. I'm just confused as to why so many Alabama fans. I don't hate Alabama. I don't know. Not something I hear too often. Dan Ben says, to me, I just don't think the question is very hard. John DeMarco says, E. the Leola root stew. E. the Leola root stew? And Daniel says, Neelix, yes. Yes, Neelix was the one who was helped with the nanoprobes. Dan Ben says, yeah, I got it once she read out the names. Cinnabon says, multiple choice makes it too easy. I agree. Daniel says, 7 saved Neelix's life with nanoprobes. Jedi Bill says, and I miss the dislikes the Luke Skywalker. I meant to dislike the Luke Skywalker now. Last on the case says, hashtag son of a bitch. Well, Mark, not only did Mark know about the nanoprobes and that it was Neelix, he also correctly recalled that Neelix was angry at 7 because now he doesn't think that the afterlife existed. Dan Ben says, I'm a Star Wars fan, but apart from R2-D2 and Yoda, none of the main characters are my favorites. Daniel says, Neelix the Hedgehog. John DeMarco says, no worries, Bird. At least you didn't say the game wouldn't be installed until Tuesday. Cinnabon says, I guess John needs to have a game on Saturday and Sunday now. That would have fixed it. Daniel says, Mark Hamill, Master Mark, Sensei Skywalker. Jedi Bill says, Sunday. Birdo Prey 5 may eat the out-of-date spam. Mama Prey saved. Please stay tuned to this Birdo Prey 5 channel. Well, maybe I'll have to eat the out-of-date spam on the special Sunday edition of Jeopardy, if there was one. Dan Ben says, I only got into Star Wars 18 years because I ran out of Star Trek games to play on the platforms I had, then was given a Star Wars game to understand. I watched the films. Wow, that is a weird way of becoming a Star Wars fan. But if it worked for you, wonderful. Daniel's Hot Topics says, sorry, Bird. I'm just fooling around. No problem, Daniel. Don't have to apologize. Gorilla's Random Thoughts says, throw hail at Karoga. What size you want thrown? Small. JP says, someone needs to send Mark Hamill cases of Bud Light. Dan Ben says, Seska actress Martha Hatchett was also in up to 5 Star Trek video games. In Star Trek Klingon, she was a Klingon female. She was also in a deleted scene for TNG All Good Things. JP's says, Alabama fans, you mean sister and cousin lovers. That's not Alabama. Not all of Alabama. Ron Marr, Kapla Ron Marr, says, hey, Bird, great to hear from a fellow 3DO fan. I worked on a game on it, and for the time, it was pretty easy to get things done. I had the Gold Star version of the 3DO, rather than the Panasonic version. And my favorite 3DO game was Road Rash. For some reason, Road Rash on the 3DO was far and above better than any other platform, including PlayStation, which came out, even though by all accounts, the Sony PlayStation was a more powerful unit. The Road Rash on the 3DO just looked and felt better than any other platform. It took a while to load. Compared to the cartridge-based systems, but I would happily wait. Nothing compared. Yeah, I loved my 3DO. Daniel's Hot Topics says, I grew up with Super Nintendo. My grandmother gave me $1,000 back in 1992. So my mom took me to Kmart. I had to pick either Sega Genesis or Super Nintendo. It was a hard pick. For fuck's sake, Daniel. With $1,000, you could have got both and had money for games. But yeah, it's probably best to just pick one. That was congratulations. I mean, that is a heck of a lot of money to have to buy games. Daniel had to get the SNES. The only problem with the SNES was that, Mortal Kombat, the blood was off. You had to put in a code to turn on blood mode. Because whatever, they were afraid that you would, I don't know, bloody, it'd be too bloody for kids. A game that has fatalities, its fatalities are built-in part of the game, and they're afraid the blood would be too much. I remember I had a game called Techno Cop for the Sega Master System, and I remember getting it for Christmas morning. I was so happy. I ripped. That it was under the tree, and I was ripping little pieces off to try and see what game it was, and it was Techno Cop. I could see it, so I knew what it was going to be. I was so happy. Mom will pray and Dad will pray, and Santa Claus listened to me and got me Techno Cop. The whole part of Techno Cop, it was famous for the enemies. After you kill them, they don't go away. they stay on the screen where they died. And it was this whole big thing. Like, I remember reading about it in the video game magazines at the time. And they're like, up until now, when you kill somebody in a video game, their body just disappears. Now the bodies will stay where they die. And it was like the whole big selling point was you shoot somebody and their body became like a bloody mess and it stayed where it was. Now, the thing is, it stayed where it was for like 5 minutes. If you left the screen and came back, it still was gone. But if you didn't leave the screen, it wouldn't disappear. So that was the big thing. And the music, like you put it in, and it was like Techno Cop, Busted, and that would be like some music, and it would go back and forth between two different play types. First would be like a side-scrolling shooter, like Contra. You just, or Streets of Rage. You're walking, but you've got a gun, and you got to shoot people. And that's where, when you shoot people, their body would just fall and stay where it was until you left the screen. But then, every other level was a driving level, more like a typical, like a racing game where you're sitting in a car and you've got to drive. You're driving a police car, though. So it was back and forth between those two play types, and it was an interesting game. And again, this was for the Sega Master System, so this was an 8-bit. This was an 8-bit system, closer to an NES than SNES. So it was quite an interesting game at the time. Daniels was 5 years old at the time. Jesus. Dan Ben says Star Wars Episode 5, Luke's hand is cut off. Canon Comics, they have it shown the hand was taken to Palpatine facility on Exegol from Episode 9 so they could do something with cloning Luke one day. Ken Jack Ben says Bird of Prey 5, greetings and salutations from Vallejo, California. Kapla, Ken Jack Ben. Captain Finity says, I sense a presence, something I haven't felt since ... Jedi Bill says hello to Ken Jack Ben. Puts in a bunch of jack-o'-lanterns. JP says, wow, someone born with a silver spoon. Captain Fandom Nerd says hello to Ken Jack Ben. Ron Mars says 3DO only had a 2x CD-ROM drive, if I recall, so loading was always going to be slow. But that was just after the dawn of CD-ROM games. So many devs, mine included, made use of the space. Oh yeah, it had to be wonderful. I mean, the Sega Master System general cartridges were 1 to 4 megabytes. So Genesis, might have been 2 to 8, maybe 16 megabytes, and all of a sudden you have 600 megabytes. Daniel's Hot Topics says nowadays the same game on different consoles are the same, but back in the day, for example, Aladdin on SNES and the Sega Genesis were different. I remember on SNES, Aladdin jumped on people. On Sega Genesis, he had a sword. Daniel says, and all the kids who picked Super Nintendo were screaming, I want a sword. Well, they should have got the blast processing, right? Sega does what Nintendo don't. JP says best game ever, Tecmo Super Bowl, RBI Baseball, and the EA NHL series. My favorite sports game of all time was, again, the Sega Genesis, Joe Montana 2 Sports Talk Football. The very first game that had where they had an announcer calling the plays and telling the score. The very first game was way back in Sega Genesis. Then by the time of the next generation consoles, everything was sports talk. They were all talking, doing real time play-by-play announcing. But Joe Montana 2. And the thing is, at the time, I was the only one of my friends. who liked Joe Montana 2 Sports Talk Football. Everybody else was all about Madden. EA had the John Madden football, and that sold better, and every year it got updated. I was still the only one playing Joe Montana 2. I was happy to do it. I learned more about football from playing it, Joe Montana football, than watching it on TV, because I was not somebody who watched sports on TV at the time. Dan Ben says, I didn't really play racing games. JP says, I play racing car sims. And Ken Jack Ben says, I was eating, so I didn't see Jedi Bill. Greetings to Jedi Bill. He's calling him Jedi Bill, but it's Jedi Bill. I'm sure he knows. Last Son of K says, I remember playing EA NHL on Sega Genesis just after Buddy got one. I scored a center ice face-off in a game against him. I still have no idea how I did it. Remember, the thing about EA games on Genesis was they had that little extra yellow piece. They were all a little taller than the regular Genesis cartridges, and they had that little yellow piece that was part of them. My favorite EA game of all time wasn't the sports game. It was Desert Strike, and then to a lesser extent, Jungle Strike. But Desert Strike, that was like the first. It was basically Desert Storm. It was like Desert Storm the game, but I loved that game. Desert Strike. Then they did Jungle Strike, where they made it bigger and more complicated. And then they did, I think they called it Urban Strike, where instead of fighting the drug dealers of the Central America, it was the runes of Washington, D.C., or maybe not the runes. It was actual Washington, D.C. And it was like terrorists were loose in Washington, D.C. And that was a little ahead of its time. But it was a trilogy of games: Desert Strike, Jungle Strike, and Urban Strike. I really only liked Desert Strike. Dan Ben says, when I was younger, you could sometimes find a Star Trek film that had a Star Trek PC demo disc with it. JP says, not games. You can make minute adjustments to stagger and gear ratios. Lost plenty of time playing NASCAR real time, 2 to 4 hour single race. Wow. Ken Jack Ben says, Joe Montana talking football. That was it. Joe Montana Sports Talk Football. Dan Ben says, I played The Simpsons Virtual Springfield on the PC in the 90s. Ken Jack Ben says, and I was the only one that liked NFL Blitz. JP says, Madden didn't get good until the early 00s. While people were playing Madden long before the 00s. Daniel says, Genesis does what Nintendo. It was Sega does what Nintendo, wasn't it? Or Genesis does what Nintendo? Well, either or. Dan Ben says, my brother learned that you could trick the computer by doing a fake field goal. Oh, yes. Yes, I did the same thing. That was the flaw of the game. Every time, if you fake field goal, you won every time. Like I'd ask my friend, like watching the game, like a real football game, like, why don't they just fake it? Why don't they just fake field goal? And to this day, like in every football game I watch, especially the Super Bowl, I am just waiting for the fake field goal. Because, I mean, it wins every time. It wins every time. I have 100% success rate with fake field goals because I played Joe Montana Sports Talk football. And I don't understand why more teams don't use the fake field goal when it's basically the perfect play. Daniel's Hot Topic says, I remember when there was Batman, the animated series on SNES and Sega Genesis. Sadly, never got that game. Dan Ben says, EA, it's in the game. I played one of their football games once. JP says they also did F117 Strike. Did they? Okay, I missed that one. Ken Jack Ben says, I always thought Flashback was a really cool game. I just couldn't play it. I remember the game with the 7-Up spot. Remember the game with the 7-Up spot? And it was the music, the Wipeout music. Daniel's Hot Topic says, I was a kid back then. I got SNES at Kmart, and I was so happy. And the rest of the money I used to get VHS tapes. But if I knew then what I knew now, I would have bought both. Ken Jack Ben says, yeah, the advertisements for the game Flashback made reference to 24 frames per second of the animation, just like the feature film. John DeMarco says, Genesis is Planet Forbidden. You know, stupid fucking Twitter. Somebody posted a scene from Star Trek 3, and they had Dr. McCoy in the bar, and they referenced it as a gay bar. And they said, when Dr. McCoy goes to the gay bar in Star Trek 3, do you think that that's him going or Spock going? And I was like, what the fuck are you talking about, gay bar? But they included a picture, and sure enough, everybody in that particular picture was a guy, except for that waitress who looked a little weird. And I'm like, there's no way it was a gay bar. There's no way. To the point that I had to go and turn on Star Trek 3 and fast forward and watch it. And no, I can assure you it was not a gay bar. It was just one particular scene where everybody in it happened to be a dude, and it just looked a bit suspicious. But no, it most certainly was not a gay bar. Not that it would have mattered if it was, but there's no way I would have missed that this long. Daniel's Hot Topics is also remember the pack in the game that came with SNES. It was Super Mario World, and I played that a lot. I could have saved some money to get more Super Mario Nintendo games, like Batman Returns or Batman the Animated Series. what could I do? I was like 5 back then. I was easily abused, and I wasn't thinking about all that. I mean, that is impressive to give a 5-year-old what to do with $1,000. JP says, I remembered an old Intellivision football where you could run through the left side of the screen and appear on the right side and tackle the quarterback from behind. Gorilla says Paperboy was my favorite. I used to play Paperboy. Sisopray had the Nintendo, so I used to play Paperboy on hers. Paperboy and Dr. Mario. Oh, and something with a marble. I forget what it was called. It was a gray isolinear, like graph paper kind of 3D looking board, and you were just like this black ball that you would, I think something marble or something, forget what it was called. Dan Ben says, I play Star Trek Generations video game on PC. Captain Phantom Nerd says, Gorilla Thoughts, I still have Paperboy. Marble Attack? Something like that. Daniel's Hot Topics is NBA Jam. Oh, that was a big one. NBA Jam. On Super Nintendo was great. It was oddly addicting for a basketball game. I wonder why. Because it had that speed, that flame. You would catch on fire. I always wondered because NBA Jam wasn't sci-fi or action. I shouldn't have been addicted to it. Yeah, for some reason, the football game, the sports talk football got me. Even though I had no interest in football, except for the fact that it could talk. And NBA Jam, yeah, that got me. And remember NBA Jam, the cheat codes had the big head mode and stuff. They just got all silly. Had all silly stuff. Stan Lee says, my cousin was way ahead of his time. He used to hook his SNES up to a VCR and record himself beating a game to show friends how to do it. Awesome. John DeMarco is face palming. I'm guessing at the gay bar comment. Daniel's Hot Topics, but it turns out I was. Gorilla says same captain. John DeMarco says the waitress was not only female, it was not the only female in that scene. Stanley says the manhole. JP says, don't you mean when McCoy goes to the Blue Oyster Club? Gorilla's Random Thoughts says, I got both the desert and jungle strike. Yes, good. Dan Ben says, the bar in Star Trek 3 was based on Star Wars, A New Hope, where instead of being shady people, they were the opposite. They said it on the special features in the film's DVD. Marble Madness. Thank you, JPs. Marble Madness. That's the game. Ken Jackman says, I also like a Game Boy and his blob. The game is ridiculous. There's no end to it. I also like the game, A Boy and His Blob. That game is ridiculous. There is no end to it. And Stanley also knew it was Marble Madness. Daniel's Hot Topics is also remember the second game I got for the SNES was Super Mario's Time Machine. I loved it, but it was an educational game, not a game. JP says from downtown, he's on fire. Yeah, that's it. That's NBA Jam. Darth Maul says Dr. McCoy being gay makes as much sense as STD and Strange New World being canon. Todd T-Berg Sci-Fi Tech says, Hail Karoga, just popping in briefly. I played Paperboy and Pole Position and Bubble Bobble on real Commodore 64 using 720K floppies. Ciao. Kapla T-Berg. Last on the case says Darth Maul for the win. Darth Maul says, I still have Star Trek Generations for the PC from Micropose. It still runs. Awesome. Ken Jack Ben. I used to watch cousins play hours of Jordan versus Bird. T-Berg says, Larry Bird versus Dr. J, smashing the backboard. Daniel's Hot Topic says, the third game I got was The Jungle Book. I really loved that game. It was so much fun, swinging in the trees and defeating everything in the jungle. Stanley says, and seeing the original Alone in the Dark intro playing on a screen at Electronics Boutique was mind-blowing. Oh my God, Electronics Boutique. That was my favorite place to go in the mall. And go to Electronics Boutique, Software Etc., which was basically the same store as Electronics Boutique. But if Electronics Boutique didn't have it, Software Etc. usually did. Then I'd stop by the Sharper Image, where I couldn't afford anything. And then on the way out, we'd stop at the Suncoast Video. And I would look for whatever Star Trek videos they had and buy them. I was buying episode by episode. Never finished, but bought a lot over the years. Ken Jack Ben says, how is this for video game memory? I was playing Double Dragon to win in 1989. Loma Prieta earthquake hit. Wow. Last on the case is the hick from French Lick. Larry Bird is definitely one of the greatest basketball players of all time. Epic trash talker. And he could back it up. Too bad his body betrayed him. Ken Jack Ben says that was the earthquake that stopped the World Series. I remember that day. My dad was saying, this is history in the making. An earthquake stopped the World Series. Dan Ben says, I'm not sure I played any Disney video games. And he also says, I had a lot of Star Trek on VHS when I was younger. We sold, I don't know, maybe 8 years ago, we had a garage sale, and some guy bought my whole box of Star Trek VHS tapes. He didn't go through it. He just bought the entire box. Yeah, it was just a couple of dollars. Daniel's Hot Topic says EB Games was the best place to go when to Stone Road Mall back in the 90s, but I couldn't afford anything. Then I remember going to Cinema One and seeing TNG VHS episode, The Best of Both Worlds, but I had no money to get that either. Executive producer Saul Leibowitz says, Kapla Bird. I remember playing both a Star Trek console game at the arcade and a text-based Star Trek game programmed in Cobalt in the early 1980s. Wow, those are the days. Daniel's Hot Topic says, I had to beg back in those days to get anything. Stanley says, yeah, it cracked Candlestick Park. JP says, Lowell, this turned out to be a member berry show. Yeah, especially about old video games. Dan Ben says, yeah, Some TNG Part 1 and Part 2 were released separately or as feature-length movies. The Random Menace, Kapla, says greetings from the future. Just like the teenage period, better late than never. Indeed, Random Menace. Hope you and Olivia, Erica are all doing well. Okay, so it is National Daughters Day. Speaking of Random Menace, did you know today is Daughters Day? You should celebrate. September 25th, National Daughters Day, but it's also National Lobster Day, a fine delicacy throughout most of the world. The crowd-pleasing crustacean has seen darker days. So LDG, be on the lookout, be aware. It's National Lobster Day. It's also Yom Kippur, big holy holiday for the Jewish amongst us. Also known as the Day of Atonement. Yom Kippur is considered the holiest day in Judaism. It's binge day. Ready for a lazy, relaxing day. Grab some popcorn and snacks before you binge. I think they mean binge watching a show, not binge eat. German Butterbrot Day. I mean, it looks just like bread with butter on it. Get the bread, get the butter. It's time to celebrate German Butterbrot Day. International Ataxia Awareness Day. Math Storytelling Day. A fun and interesting way to celebrate a subject typically feared by many. Don't fear math storytelling. Good day. Holy shit. It's National Comic Book Day. We should have been talking about comic books, except the fact I didn't have any other than Garfield. It's National Cooking Day. Slow down and enjoy preparing your own food and the joy of eating it. It's also, it's National Cooking Day and National Food Service Employee Day? That seems like a bad day to share. Visit your local restaurant and show your appreciation for the staff that does it all. But it's National Cooking Day. I'm supposed to stay home and cook. How can I stay home and cook and visit my restaurant? That doesn't make any sense. Some idiot made them the same day. National One-Hit Wonder Day. Start making your throwback playlist as we pay homage to our one-hit wonders. National Psychotherapy Day, a recognition day for a treatment that helps to alleviate stress and mental problems. National Quesadilla Day, that looks fucking delicious. The problem with quesadillas is they're too high in sodium. The bread, it's basically just salt. Otherwise, I'd be eating quesadillas all day. Oh my God, how is this a day? National Roadkill Day. A sustainable way to feed America and clean the streets? It's National Roadkill Day. I mean, that has to be, somebody is trolling. Somebody is trolling. National Tune-Up Day. Prepare the house for cold winter months. Okay, that's a fair day. National Yoga Fit Day. Get your mats ready for National Yoga Fit Day. Attain physical and mental fitness. Another one-hit wonder. Research Administrator Day. Celebrate the administrators who put hard work to conduct important research. World Dream Day. Calling all the dreamers, achievers, and go-getters. This is the day for you. Oh, I thought it was about dreaming. And finally, World Pharmacist Day. We're shedding light on how Pharmacist Day came to be and sharing fun ideas to celebrate. Yeah, here's a fun idea. Don't rob your pharmacist today. Do not rob them. Do not make them put all the controlled substances in a bag and run off with them. Don't do that today. Okay. We're gonna get ready for Wordle, but first some commercials, and I'll be right back.
Kodak introduces the extraordinary Kodamatic Trim Print Instant Color Film. Unlike the ordinary instant print, the extraordinary trim print lets you lift off the image to capture the color just the way you like it. And now look how slim I am. I slip easily into places the ordinary bulky instant doesn't fit. So you can keep me in style here in your album with your regular pictures. You can trim me. Watch it. And I'm so thin you can put me where you couldn't put an ordinary instant picture. You can show me off. You can do all kinds of things with me that you can't do with an ordinary instant picture. Here I am, with the new Kodamatic Trim Print Instant Color Film.
Anyone can do extraordinary things, but he didn't tell you Trim Print is only for Kodamatic instant cameras.
You didn't tell him it's only from Kodak.
What?
You didn't tell him it was only from Kodak.
Extraordinary.
Thank you. Trim Print, the extraordinary new instant color film from Kodak.
37 years ago, Club Med made a special arrangement with civilization. Send us your frazzled, you're crazed, you're beleaguered, you're burnt out, you're overburdened, you're tension-riddled, and we'll send you back a human being.
What's in this little blue egg that keeps Barbara Eden looking slim and trim?
Oh, there's only one answer to that. It's Legs Control Top Pantyhose. See, Legs slims and trims but doesn't bind. So you get comfort and control.
Stretching, bending, standing, setting. There's one pantyhose that's always spinning. Nothing beats a great pair of legs.
Hey, right now, Loblaws is having a huge frozen food sale. You can get tremendous value on over 50 frozen food items, frozen vegetables, frozen meat entrees, frozen concentrated juices, ice cream. If it's frozen, you can save plenty. Don't get left out on the cold. Come on in and stock up that freezer. Loblaws frozen food sale. Another reason why more than the price is right. Does he work here?
Go on. Why resist it? Sugar-free Jell-O gelatin. Give in, give in, give in to the taste. Cool and refreshing, deliciously tempting.
It tastes like Jell-O to me.
How can it be? Give in, give in, give in to the taste.
It's made with NutraSweet.
And it's only 8 calories. Sugar-free Jell-O gelatin. Give in, give in, give in to the taste.
I'm Maud Adams. For natural flavor, I like Cot. A lot. Because Cot beverages are made with real honest-to-goodness fruit, like sweet, juicy oranges, tart lemons and limes, luscious strawberries and raspberries, and succulent grapes. 30 delicious flavors, including diet flavors, non-carbonated flavors, and the best root beer you've ever tasted. All natural, all great. Enjoy the good taste of Cot.
Natural tastes better, so it's got to be good.
Time takes you beyond the news.
Time flies, and you are there. Time cries, and lets you care. You understand the world we share.
This week, Time helps you understand the spoils of war, the diplomatic, and human costs of victory in Lebanon and the Falklands.
Read time and understand.
I'm back. I am back. Sorry about that. I get my voice back up. All right. Hello, world. There we go. Wordle. Today's Wordle, September 25th. Somebody please put in a 5-letter word and get started. I will come back to the chat, but for right now, I'm looking at the current chat so we can get a 5-letter word. Kitty, God damn it. P-I-T-T-Y. God damn it. Okay, well, listen. At least we got the Y. At least we got the Y in the right place. If somebody wants to give me a real word with no other letters used, but a Y at the end, otherwise I have to think of something. Come on, people. Darth Maul, it needs to have a Y at the end. I don't want to use the same letters. Okay, let's Porky, P-O-R-K-Y, like Porky Pig. Let's try that. Oh, okay. Oh, actually, we know where the R goes because the R can only go one place. O, X, K, Y. Roxky, Roki, Roki, Royki, Rucky, Rowky, Roski, Roski, Rodki, Rofki, Roggy, Roki, Raj, Rocky. Oh, Rocky, like Rocky Balboa. Rocky. There we go, Rocky. Nice. That was actually, you know what? From Titty to Rocky, that was pretty damn good. Well done, people. Well done. Oh, you didn't get Balboa? Oh, here come all the Y's. Here come all the Y's. Yeah. Okay. Oh. Let's go to Dear Bop, and then we'll go and I'll go to any missed chats. We don't have a whole lot of Dear Bops, which is fine. Oh, let's see. Did he write back? Did he write back? No, although somebody liked it. Who liked it? Um, whatever. Dear Bop. Dear Bop. Dear Bop. If you could take over any other YouTuber's channel, whose would it be? I guess I would just go to whoever has the most subscribers and members, whatever, and just take it over. I mean, even if I didn't put up any content, I could probably still make money from subscribers and members. Yeah, for years to come. And if I did stream, I guess you get people that would super chat anyway. I mean, I wouldn't want to steal a channel from any of the people I kind of like. And let's face it, I wouldn't want to steal Salty Tracker's channel either. So, yeah, I guess it would just look for whoever had the biggest channel. What's it, Mr. Beast? Is that the guy with the biggest YouTube channel these days? I guess I would take over. I would be the new Mr. Beast. PewDiePie? I don't know about PewDiePie. I thought PewDiePie is old now. Dear Bob, where is my PS5? Nobody's getting a PS5. Dear Bob, are you going to let Salty make a video game with your voice and likeness? So for those of you who don't know, Salty is apparently creating a video game that has me as a playable character. It has my voice through his AI of my voice. And he did ask me to provide some graphics and whatnot, which I did. I did allow him. Not that I didn't allow him, and not that he asked. He asked, could he get this? Could he get that? And I happily gave it to him. At the time, I didn't know why he wanted it, but I'm just going to put it this way. I'm not worried. I'm not concerned. I don't think anybody need be concerned. I love Salty, but and it's nice that he thinks he's going to make a video game. But if he does, good. More power to him. Listen, if he honestly makes a video game one day that has me in it, I'd be honored. But that said, I highly doubt. I highly doubt it's going to come out. Oh, I know he's going to play with it and he's going to spend time on it. But I think I've seen Salty. He gets interested in something. He goes all in for, I don't know, 6 months. Then something else comes along and he drops it and he goes to something else. So he's going to have fun working on this game for a couple more months. But I suspect before it ever gets finished, he will move on to something else. I'm not too worried. Darth Maul, I hope Bart gets all the Dear Bops. Dear Bob, Star Trek Discovery Season 5 is like Indiana Jones, according to Jonathan Frakes. Jonathan Frakes says Star Trek Discovery returns to its action-adventure roots in its final season. Well, that's good for him. I'm not going to read a story about Star Trek Discovery. I don't give a shit about Jonathan Frakes or Indiana Jones. So good luck with that. Couldn't care less. And that was a copy. So we got the same one twice. Dear Bob, I sent a black bear after the guy in Orlando that keeps eating my family, but the effing bear went after the effing moose. Instead, I turned that bear into near steaks and bear burger. You want any? What? Moose. What are you talking about? Mouse. Effing mouse. Oh my God. I have moose on the brain. I sent a black bear after a guy in Orlando that keeps eating my family, but the effing bear went after that effing mouse instead. So I turned that bear into near steaks, bear steaks and bear burger. You want any? I turned the bear into bear steaks and bear burger. You want? No, bear is disgusting. I would never want to eat bear meat. That'd be like the last type of meat. Dear Bob, here's a poem for National Daughter Day. What is this? This is kind of long, and I suspect it's AI. Oh, by Paula Glynn. Okay, I will read it. Daughter of the streets. An 18-year-old girl with her eyes wide open, yearning to see the world, but she is a lonely lost girl who doesn't yet have wisdom when it comes to the way of the world, even though her mother loved her throughout her life from little girl. Lured into prostitution, the infamous sex trade, where so many girls and women play the money game. A pimp Charlie to have, not knowing her, he would betray. When it came to a lifestyle of supposed glamour, to take out in cash and pay. And for her, selling her body pays the bills. Charlie's youth and beauty, giving younger and older men a thrill. But Charlie's mother does not yet know her daughter is in the sex trade, her lost innocence to not show. Apart from late nights out, her mother assuming her daughter to be on drugs, making her reaction slow. Charlie to rebel, and her mother sees this and can tell. Her daughter fearing having no job, out of fear of not being able to graduate. Qualifications tricky, as Charlie's feels she has dug a grave, pulling out mud, spade after spade, turning to the sex trade to pay her way. This is a terrible poem. I am going to stop here. This poem sucks ass. I'm sorry. If any poem deserves to be dropped, it's this one. This is just garbage. I don't know who Paula Glynn is, but she has no business writing poetry. Okay. So we made it through the Dear Bops. Let's see. We're going back up to uh, let's see. Random Menace. Ken Jack Ben says, my Star Trek PC gaming bona fides are Star Trek Armada 1 and 2, Star Trek Borg, Star Trek Klingon. I legitimately learned Klingon words from the Klingon language during the game. JP says, how's the Munchkin doing? To Random Menace. Stanley says, what about the old BBS games like Usurper? Never played them. Dan Ben says, I could never get a Star Trek Bridge Commander to work on any computer. JP says, oh, Bird has to buy Mamo Pray a lobster dinner. I would. You checked it out, Mamo Pray?
Places that deliver lobster dinners.
Okay.
I need a bag of potato chips so I don't want lobster.
Okay. She's full. Ken Jack Ben says also what you might call Torah observant Christians celebrate the day as well. Dan Ben says, yes, Bird of Prey 5 should eat lobster on live video wearing a bib. No, thank you. Darth Maul says some friends are celebrating this Daughter's Day by going to the strip club. Nice. JP says, boo math. Boo math. Don't let Jill hear you, JP's. Last on the case is Bird and LDG enjoying a mukbang on a stream together. No, thank you. JP says every day is National Cooking Day. 47 Yorktown says, oh man, I'm a lobster fisherman and I didn't know lobster had a day. Dan Ben says math is fun and interesting is false advertising. Oh, Dan Ben, no, math is fun. JP says 47 for lobster day is every day as long as the traps are full. Dan Ben says those two cancel each other out. Absolutely. Gorilla's Random Thoughts says that's schmuck. John DeMarco says quesadilla and roadkill day next to each other seems suspicious. JP says low roadkill day and cooking day on the same day. Ken Jack Ben says not for me. Quesadillas are perfectly acceptable in my diet. Also, your name doesn't count if your name is John without the H. Ken Jack Ben says, judging by the picture, I would have thought it was National Smell Your Own Foot Day. Oh my God. Oh, the yoga picture. JP says, oh, she can yoga that pose on me all day. Last on a K agrees she's flexible. Ken Jack Ben says, I thought it was going to be about sleep and having a dream. I did too. 47 Yorktown says to JP's true and lobster. JP says Pharmacist Day. How's that they learn to count and read day? Ken Jack Ben says, yeah, most women should know that yoga was the exercise given to the fortunes of the king of India so they could stay limber. It means that all those poses in yoga are hooker practice. JP says so they are not, so they not try and kill their patients. Dan Ben says, I remember getting a Polaroid camera as a kid in the 90s. A Kodak guy looks like Barry Manilow. The Kodak guy looks like Barry Mann. Oh, that was the commercials. Last on the case is David Copperfield. LDG is here. It says, send me a human. Are you going to eat a human now? JP says, lol, I got my first Polaroid in '93 as a graduation gift, and the first picture was of my junk. Of course. What the hell else was the purpose of a Polaroid but to take the pictures that you couldn't have, you couldn't have made at the actual, at the pharmacy or wherever you had your actual pictures created. You didn't want anyone else seeing them. They were basically the digital pictures of the pre-internet. Ken Jack Ben says, one of their own employees invented the digital camera, and they fired him. They fired him. Event was hired by Sony. JP says, yes, Loblaws, the Canadian grocery store monopoly. Ron Mars says, by Grapthar's hammer. What a savings. Dan Ben says, the first picture I took with the Polaroid was on someone walking past a window. They weren't very happy. Last son of Gay says, there's always room for Jello. Dan Ben says, what is short for cotton or blood clot? Gorilla says, TT. Dan Ben puts in T. Ships. Darth Maul says, 2020 hindsight. Jello is saying, give in is like having Bill Cosby. A person seems troublesome. A whole bunch of Wordle words. Ken Jack Ben says, don't forget the X makes a Z sound sometimes. JP says, rocky terrain. Captain Phantom Nerd just puts in Rocky. Dan Ben says, I'm not interested to watching any Rocky film. Last son of K calls me a cheater. Darth Maul says, as long as it's titty and not Rocky. Darth Maul says, chunky. Ken Jack Ben says, definitely PewDiePie. Dan Ben says, if you have thousands of people commenting, you couldn't read the comment section. You'd have to do the video differently. Yeah, I just have to pick and choose like every 100 comments. Ken Jack Ben says, I would behave exactly as he did when he did his first video, and I would reenact every video ever did as him. Stan Lee is happy with a PS4. Dan Ben says, meh. Darth Maul says, I hope Bird gets all the deer bops today. I did. Ken Jack Ben says, they're starting to not make games for PS4. So if I do get another console, which kind I want to really get, between that and the mini PC, has all kinds of emulation on it. Stanley says, well, I think anyone can make a basic game now, just with UE4 templates and free assets. Daniel's Hot Topic says, Salty wants to make a video game. That would be interesting. He's working on it now. He's got a playable demo. Stanley says, Bird of Prey, yeah, I thought it was all in on 3D printing. Yeah, well, the 3D printing came and went. So now it's video games. Gorilla's Random Thoughts says he's gonna play with it. Bird of Prey 5 2023. Stanley says, weren't all his members going to get plastic spaceships or something? I remember when I when I joined Salty's Patreon, one of the bonuses was he was supposed to do a review of any video you wanted that he could get legally. And so I found some really weird like after school special video that I wanted him to do a review of, and I sent him the link. And it went, first it was weeks, then months, then years went by, and I just realized, hey, it's not going to happen. I was, hey, I've got a YouTube channel. I could do a review of it. So I did the damn review myself. It's up there somewhere. We did it recently. I mean, within the last year or so. I put it up with my Twilight Zone videos because that's where it made the most sense. It was Mindslaughter. Mindslaughter. It is what it is. Daniel's Hot Topic says, return to action, adventure roots. Wasn't Discovery always action adventure? Probably. Ken Jack Band says, I thought Star Trek Discovery's roots were plagiarism and stupidity. Yeah, that is more accurate. Last in the case is people make something resembling a video with game engines and free assets on Steam and do GFMs all the time. Most are frauds. JP's is yelling mouse. Last in the case is video game. JP's lol. Moose sounds funnier. Daniel's Hot Topic says they never had a bear burger. That could be interesting. I was thinking moose because we got the Adirondack property that used to be in my family, that, Caroga, the property that in Caroga Lake, New York, that unfortunately the family had to sell this year and is currently under new ownership. Well, the new owners put up a trail camera, and my neighbor sent me the picture from the trail camera, and for the first time that they know of, a moose was captured on the property, on a camera, on the trail camera, on the property, which was, so I had moose on the brain because I saw the moose I saw the moose picture the other day. So, I mean, it's very rare. Moose were very rare to see, but they've taken over. They've gotten way more popular in the area, so it's cool. Darth Maul says Charlie's a pimp. No, in that poem, Charlie was a girl. Charlie was a woman's name. Charley. It was the female spelling of Charlie. Last on the cases, is that a poem or a book? And so it's not AI. Darth Maul, it appears like it's not AI. And to be honest, AI poems sound better. So I'm pretty sure it's not AI. JP says it could be be so horrible. Stanley, does anyone play that Star Trek Bridge Crew VR game? Not that I have known. Gorilla says there was a black bear inside Disney World. Oh, right. That's right. I saw that on the news. There was a black bear in Disney World. Disney is very racist. They went after the black bear. Ken Jack Ben says, this is a poem that's better than the one he just read. Having heard the piece of crap poem, now I wish I had no head. Very good. Stanley says it was fun, but they didn't include enough encounters/levels. Daniel's Hot Topics is by Grathar's Hammer. You shall be avenged. Stanley says I had terrible hindsight, but I had great breast sight. Darth Maul says Lola Stanley. Darth Maul says I wonder how many didn't get those anti-tracker ships. And did Salty ever review the animated Barbie movie? No, I don't think he did. Stanley says Darth Maul might, after he finishes Incredible Hulk, think he's on episode 3. No, Karoga Lake did not burn down, Stanley. Daniel's Hot Topic says there was a black bear in Disney World. This is the first I heard of it. Yeah, no, it hit the news. And Nemesis of Eden, Kapla. Says Kapla, hope you're having a lovely day, Bird of Prey 5. I know Skogly has played the Star Trek VR. He really liked it from what I recall. Okay. Very cool. So speaking of people that we haven't talked about in a while, Alexander, you guys all know Alexander from Canada, from Quebec, mostly from Salty Tracker Stream, but you know, he's waiting to be married. He actually is married, but waiting for his wife to be able to legally join him in Canada. Anyway, he's asked for my help. I can't do it myself, but I did say I would relay this info. And if there's anybody out there who would like to help him, please go ahead and contact me and I will put you in contact with him. So here's the thing. He needs to borrow an address for somebody in the United States. He wants to have some books mailed to him, but the seller of the books on eBay refuses to ship to Canada. They'll only ship to the United States. The seller, these are very rare, hard to find books. The only person who is willing to sell them will only sell them to somebody with a United States address. So what he would do is use your address, have them sent to you, and then pay you money to then reship them to him in Canada. He says it's not difficult. It's a fairly easy thing, but it will require probably going to the post office to send them. And unfortunately, you know, neither me nor Mama Pray can leave the house. So I can't do it for him. If I could, I would, but I can't. So I did say I would put out the word and see if there was anyone who was willing. The books are something about communism. They are political books. So it's not that these books are just, comic books or whatever. They are political books, but yeah, if you don't mind, if you're interested, if you're willing to help, please give me a heads up. You can let me know or message me on Twitter or email me, bertopray5@aol.com, and I will put you in contact with Alexander, and you guys can work out the details. He doesn't mind paying, the cost of shipping. And, I don't think it has to be done immediately because he's already been waiting. He's already been waiting several months. So I don't think another couple of weeks is really going to make an issue. But I feel bad for him. So if anybody is out there willing to help him, please let me know. And we'll see if we can't make this happen. Stanley says, haha, I thought you were going to say waiting for his wife to become legal. His wife is legal. She can't legally enter Canada because of the war going on with Russia. Well, the war between the Ukraine and Russia. But she's in Russia, and Canada is, not allowing any Russians into the country while the war is going on. Stanley says she'll be 18 in a week. No, she's well above 18. Import illegal items. I don't think they're just books. They're just books. They're commie books. I don't think there's anything illegal. JP says there are U.S. shipping addresses which then get forwarded to other addresses. Well, that's what he needs. JP says third-party shipping companies usually a wee bit sketchy. Stanley says just don't open the book. But some are legit. I'm not familiar with any of these third-party shipping companies. Ken Jack Ben says, sounds like a good business. If I had the ability, I would definitely do it. Star Trek Nitpickers is in the house. God bless, Star Trek Nitpickers. Ken Jack Ben says, kind of ironic. They're using capitalism to get communist literature. Stanley says, don't mind getting deported or charged with treason. Well, if you're a United States citizen, you can't get deported. And I seriously doubt there's any book that could get you charged with treason. Stanley says, Ken Jack Ben, nobody wants to share their copies. The Random Menace's communism is so demented. Darth Maul says he's trying to get wife. He'll get his books first, lol. JP says, Random Menace, please explain that to Justin Trudeau. Stanley says, the Random Menace, like communist joke, if you had 6 houses, would you share half of them? Yes, of course. Random Menace, if you had 6 cars, would you share half of them? Of course. If you had 6 chickens, would you share half of them? No. Stanley says, I have 6 chickens. Great theory. I missed something. I don't know. I guess 6 chickens, not enough. Not enough to share. Anyway, guys, I think that'll be it for today. Please, if anyone is, in all honesty, if anybody does feel like helping Alexander, birdwillpray5@aol.com or message me on Twitter. Yeah. Hopefully this Saturday on Jep Nerdy, maybe producer Mark might come. I feel like an idiot for telling everybody it was Sunday, but it's been corrected. John DeMarco says, have a good evening, all. Stanley says, C doesn't have to actually have other things. So it's just in theory, maybe not so funny. Lol. The randomness is pretty much communism in a nutshell. Been there, done that. Okay. Tomorrow, guys, I've got a busy day, so I don't anticipate streaming tomorrow. Wednesday, hopefully we'll be back to Enterprise Wednesday, and we will go from there. So, Copla all, thanks for hanging out, and see you all soon.